It's long been reported and rumored that Rudy Giuliani has a pretty serious drinking problem. In fact, his drinking problem is actually cited in that harassment lawsuit that he is facing from that former employee. She makes some very serious allegations about the guy basically drinking as soon as he wakes up in the morning. So, if the reports are accurate, if that lawsuit is accurate, if everybody who said this is telling the truth, then it would appear that Rudy Giuliani has a pretty serious drinking problem. And Jack Smith, the special prosecutor that's been investigating Donald Trump, wants to know a little more about Rudy Giuliani's drinking habits. According to a new report from Rolling Stone, multiple witnesses that had to go and speak to Smith and his grand jury says that they were asked about Rudy Giuliani's drinking habits. Was he inebriated? And they said he drank pretty heavily following the 2020 election, so he was drinking a lot during that period. And Jack Smith might be using this information to destroy Donald Trump's legal defense. Here's what that legal defense is. Donald Trump is planning to go into court and throw all of his lawyers under the bus, right? Giuliani, Sidney Powell, John Eastman, all these people gave me advice, and I'm just a lowly little businessman. I don't know legal stuff, so I relied on their advice to do all of these illegal things, and so it's their fault, not mine. I was acting on advice of counsel. So that advice of counsel defense is what Donald Trump is going to be using. Which, of course, is why Jack Smith has not only been asking people if Giuliani had been drinking, but he's also asking them, did Donald Trump ever say anything about Giuliani drinking? Did he ever make fun of him for drinking so much? Did he ever acknowledge that Rudy Giuliani is in fact a drunk? Because if he did, you can't go into court and make a successful argument saying, hey, I was just listening to Giuliani, he's a lawyer. Because then Smith's going to pop you with, yeah, but we've got 8 people over here that say you constantly made fun of Rudy for having a severe drinking problem. So are you telling us you were taking advice from somebody that you know was drunk off their rocker at the time? Yeah, that's going to put an end to that real quick. Furthermore, apparently it's not just Rudy Giuliani. According to these reports, Jack Smith has also been asking people, what exactly has Donald Trump been saying about Sidney Powell's mental capacity? Did he ever say she was crazy? Did he ever call her a nut? Did he ever say that she was just pushing conspiracy theories? Tell us everything you heard Donald Trump say about what Sidney Powell was saying. And it's the same scenario. Trump could go into court and say, Sidney Powell, she's a lawyer. She told me to do this. And they could say, yeah, but we got a handful of people over here that says you repeatedly said she was a nut. You kept saying that she was crazy, that she was loony. So why would you be taking advice from somebody that you know wasn't quite all there, or at least in your opinion, wasn't quite all there? That doesn't make any sense. And that destroys that legal argument. And let's be clear, though, about this right from the top. His advice of counsel defense is already very weak, because there were already multiple other lawyers who told him he did not have a case, who told him he could not legally do any of this. Yeah, we had the Justice Department telling him that. We had White House counsel Pat Cipollini telling him that. So it's going to be like, okay, these lawyers said you could, but these lawyers said you couldn't. And you decided to ignore these people and go with these people who may include a drunk and a person who belongs in a straitjacket based on comments you've made about them. So that kind of seems like that's your fault at that point. Again, we don't know for certain that this is where Jack Smith is headed, but based on the questions he was asking people when they came in to talk to the grand jury, based on these little alleys that he's going down, it certainly seems like that's the case he's trying to make. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel. We also encourage you to like, comment, and share, but again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.